Unit 2, Presentation 4, Victim Input in Parole Hearings. A victim can request to be notified of developments in a case, and this would include knowing that a parole hearing is being scheduled. This notification should happen at least 120 days before the scheduled date. And if the victim wants the parole hearing to be an open hearing, they must request that at least 90 days before the scheduled date. Generally speaking, parole hearings are private, but victims of violent crimes can request that parole hearings are open. And once a parole hearing is open, members of the public can request to attend. But they have to make that request ahead of time. They can't just show up on the day. They actually need the written permission of the Parole Commission. If a hearing is switched to being a parole hearing, it can, an open parole hearing, it can push the hearing date back by up to 120 days. A person should receive 60 days notice of an open parole hearing, and they could request a postponement for good cause at least 30 days before that hearing. Good cause, though, doesn't include the mere fact that the hearing is going to be an open one. And if they do request postponement, they then have to write again if they want to get a hearing rescheduled. And at that point, the victim would be informed again that a hearing is being scheduled. So they could then have another opportunity to ask that it be an open hearing. At an open hearing, the same factors are considered as are considered at regular hearings, but the victim is given 8 minutes to speak at the start of the hearing. And keep in mind that a regular hearing, the regulations refer to the fact that it is kept informal in order for, quote, the prisoner to have the opportunity to give free expression to his views and feelings relating to his case. So you can imagine that having the victim there and the hearing being open definitely affects people's sense of being free to give free expression to their views. So it certainly affects the atmosphere, and anecdotally, it seems that people are less likely to be granted parole at an open hearing than at a regular hearing. Advice for people who are facing open hearings includes the following. Face forward and don't look at the victim. Try to be as compassionate as possible and put yourself in their shoes. And just when you speak, be sure to express remorse specifically for their pain, as well as emphasising all the ways in which you've grown and changed in the intervening years. There are other ways in which victims can have an input into the parole hearing process. One is if there is a victim impact statement on file going back to the trial stage, the victim can request to have that updated ahead of the parole hearing. And then, just like family members and parole advocates, the victim could write to the Parole Commission at any time or request an appointment to have a meeting with the Parole Commissioner. Also, the regulations expressly provide that the victim can make a recommendation in writing to the Parole Commission on their views on the advisability of releasing the person on parole.